Everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Cavern Kings. Now, if I wanted to be like the absolute dickbag, I'd actually just pick up the shovel. Because why not? However, oh boy, this is going to be a fun run. This is like absolute perfect combo right off the bat. Technically, I would say the saw blade launcher is the better one, but you know what? Who cares? Now, we just had... oh, shoot. We just had like one of the most ridiculous runs in quite a while. I actually don't even know if that cuts the recording or not. I've never tested. But ridiculous runs in Armello ever, and you know what? I think I need something just a little bit relaxing. I've actually been... you know what? I'm not even going to attempt that. That looks like a hellhole and a half. But I'm actually like trying to figure out a good replacement for Grow Home now that I've beaten the game completely. And it's kind of a shame because there aren't a whole lot of like super... I don't know. There's not like a whole lot of good casual games that I have in my library. It's all like ridiculously hard games. It's weird. I guess no. I was thinking I should probably return to Shadow of Mordor and stuff like that. But still, don't even joke about that. Don't even joke about this. Tonight's been a right mess and all sorts of other stuff. Unfortunately, I can't change the stream, so... because for whatever reason, Cavern Kings is apparently not a game, according to Giant Bomb. Why Twitch doesn't, like, have manual entry for this sort of shit, I don't even know. I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way. Oh, speaking of, for those of you watching this right now, and those of you watching later, actually, the day this comes up, the third episode of our Let's Play podcast comes out. And it's actually a bit of a special one. Probably should have, like, done a little bit more, like, hype generation for it. But it's actually, none of you probably, or maybe C-Top. C-Top is hanging out. He probably knows. But nobody else really knows about Game Wisp, which is like a sort of companion to YouTube in a lot of ways. But so I spent an hour and a half with Geek Remix interviewing the guys from Game Wisp about their like sort of new service. It's been around for about a year now, but it's like finally getting set up and stuff. But yeah, I'm aiming to release every Saturday at about noon. Unfortunately, like organizing a podcast with like 4 people that have never met before, giant pain in the ass. Like it's hard enough organizing people that I know, to like play stuff. Like tonight was the first night I actually managed to play anything with anybody for longer than a period of a couple, like an hour tops. I think we played Nosgoth the other night for what, grand total of 20 minutes, before, you know, we had too many people, and it's like, well, can't play any more Nosgoth. But so, trying to organize, like, 4 to 5 people that have never, ever even met before, much less spoken, for the most part, is very hard to do. So, trying to get, like, everybody together was a nightmare. So, podcast number 2 was super late, because it's like, alright, hey, let's get this guy. He seems really cool. Okay, send him a message. 24 hours later, nope. Alright, let's give him, like, another day. Nope. No response. Send him another message. Alright, I guess we'll just delay by a week. Still nothing. Okay, so he just clearly does not give a shit at this point. Let's just, ask Gameface Max. Gameface Max is like, yeah! Let's do it on Friday. Friday comes. Me and the other guy are just kind of waiting around. Alright, not Friday then. Eventually, Gameface Max is like, yeah, you can find somebody else. And it's like, oh, I don't even know. It's a mess. Organizing podcasts are hard. Eventually, I'll have, like, enough, like, concrete people that it won't be a problem. But it's interesting. It's really cool, actually, from, like, a YouTube perspective. Because I'm getting responses from people that are, like, you know, over 100 times larger than I've got, Harshly Critical, who does, like, a lot of, like, horror-type gameplay at this point. He responded. I've got a couple of, like, largish Minecraft YouTubers. A lot of people in the 10 to 100k range. Like, I want to say a good 20 people. Like, the overall interest, I was originally kind of worried that the entire project would just be rife with, really low-level channels, which, like, nothing against that. But you gotta have, I mean, variety is the spice of life, and part of it is, it's supposed to be somewhat expert people talking about, like, their experiences with, Let's Playing and stuff. Which, I mean, admittedly, is not the greatest for viewers, but I guess a lot of people seem to be interested in kind of the insider information anyway, considering a lot of YouTubers just don't talk about it. Or at least, if they do, it's kind of like more of an illusion as opposed to like, yeah, SEO, tags, stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, just the overall outpouring from all levels has been really positive. And, like, there was a huge amount of negativity in the beginning, and I have some amount of concern about, like, my handling of it, but it's also one of those, I've never done a podcast before, so I think some amount of, like, leeway is to be expected. Let's see. That's just, I don't think I'm gonna be, oh, shit. I'm so glad I got triple jump. Okay, whew. And keep going. Wasn't even paying attention to him. Unfortunately, this is one of those games where paying attention to the Steam chat is very hard to do. Still cool, though. But yeah, I know. It's a pain, but it's fascinating. I also noticed that, like, I got a lot of people even following me on my own YouTube channel being like, hey, you know, saw you on the podcast. Wanted to follow you and stuff. And it's like, all right. You know, maybe... God, like, I don't want to say that this is, like, my tacit way of, self-promoting without seeming like I'm self-promoting. But, I don't know, some amount of exposure. I got, like, I practically got 100 subs over the course of the past week, which is pretty good growth for me. Especially now that we're kind of slowing down after our mellow. Because our mellow and grav got us a lot. I kind of wish I had kept with grav, but the server lag was just so brutal that I, like, never got the chance. And at this point, the ship's kind of already sailed, which is why I'm trying to go with Cavern Kings, not Cavern Kings, Catacomb Kings. But that's also one of those where it's like, well, you know what? Turns out Catacomb Kings is, like, has already been covered, so I get the feeling I'm going to get a fair amount of, like, coverage, or at least viewership from it, but it's not going to be nearly as much as if I, say, covered a game completely fresh. Either way, let's just leave. Okay. I don't know. It's interesting. Life is interesting. I think I also mentioned, like, the last time I did a run that oh, hello. That, like, I spent all of last weekend doing an art test for stuff. And unfortunately, at this point, it's kind of like, they haven't responded to me. I have no idea. I think part of the problem is, like, I don't actually, like, I don't get a whole lot of callbacks as far as business goes, so it's like, the one time I do, it's like, come on, respond, please give me a job, please. And dead silence is, like, the scariest thing ever when applying for jobs. I don't even know what to do about it, and it's like, alright, well, this is scary. And so, like, this entire week I've just, I'm not gonna say I've been, like, a ball of mess, and, I've been, like, a ball of stress and stuff like that, but it's just been, like, ooh, God, it's been a roller coaster between, you know, organizing the podcast. Because, like I said, interviewing, like, an actual professional organization is insane and terrifying, but pretty cool. All right. Oh, shoot. I don't have enough money. I almost have enough. Okay, we'll be good enough. Oh, sweet. Sweet loot. But it's been, like, kind of all over the place. It's like, all right. So not only are we, like, waiting. Oh, sweet. 2 of them. Yes, clump of moss. That's going to give us all sorts of health with this gun, which is great. Oh, hey Morrow, how's it going? Welcome back. But, like, I don't know, life is weird and interesting because it's like, yeah, as far as this company went, it was actually the easiest podcast by far to organize. So, like, here I am kind of, like, super stressed out and stuff, and they're just like, oh yeah, you know, here, we'll do it on Wednesday, problem solved. Oh, not like next Tuesday at, like, 3 in the morning? Nope, just Wednesday at noon. All right. It was kind of interesting, actually, because you could hear the entire company, like, going on in the background. They didn't have, like, a recording studio. It's just, like, at the boss's desk. And this was, like, the CEO and everything. I mean, it's only a 10-person company, but it's still just, like, this is way more official than I'm used to. Even from, like, me being a fairly, not an official person, but, like, I try and be fairly professional as far as, like, my dealings go. Especially when, like, talking to developers and stuff, it is just like, all right, these are people that, like, this is their living to make this sort of thing, and here I am, just some joker that makes videos on the internet, and I'm being talked to. And so, I don't know, like I said, roller coaster, because pretty much coming after that, it was just kind of this, like, contact high, especially because, like I said, I got about 100 subs this week which, you know, is pretty good for me. So it's just been like, all right, things are going well, except for this job thing. Oh. And of course, I've also been doing all sorts of artworks, which is like super nice. Unfortunately, like after I lost my last job, I've mentioned this plenty of times, but like working with Nickelodeon is interesting. As far as like grow home goes. Oh, sorry about that, C-Top. Unfortunately, this game is like super stressful. I will check the chat log when we're done. Please let me get out of here. Oh god, that hurt. But yeah, I don't know. Stress is crazy. And like I said, like just sitting there every day, just actually really the problem I'm running into, and like this is like I don't know, you never really know this kind of tension until you're like waiting with this. Oh god, smartphones are awful. Why? So again, to go with the whole like job application thing, and like honestly, watch me a couple days from now get either a rejection or an acceptance. If it's going to be an acceptance, it's just going to be like, all right, all of this rant was completely meaningless. But like, there's nothing more stressful to me than sitting in front of my phone, just watching emails come in from YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. Actually, Twitch is the biggest offender. Because I will get like random followers on Twitch when I'm not streaming for like no good reason. And like Satari, actually, I believe it was Satari was there. Satari being, you know, one of the viewers that almost always shows up to one of my streams. But so, some dude just shows up to my stream and is like, hey, how's it going or whatever, and just not streaming at all. Not even sure what was going on. It's like, alright, well, that was weird. And I was actually privy for that. I was busy. I was just kind of like, that is a very strange decision to make. Trying to follow somebody that's offline on Twitter and then, not Twitter, Twitch, and ask them if they're there. I probably should have responded, but I didn't notice because I was working. But so, I got that email at like, what, 2 in the afternoon, give or take? And it's like, okay, is this it? Is this the email? Nope, somebody is now following you on Twitch. And then I saw the chat message, I'm like, oh, I get it, sort of. Actually, I don't get it, but okay. Oh, we're gonna be all sorts of hale and hearty here. I'm kind of hoping I can get a double shovel, though. That's what we need. But, no, like, getting those, like, 2, 3 o'clock, like, honestly, just very business hours-y type emails, could mean one of 3 things for me. A, job acceptance. Job denial, that's one thing. B, Twitch follower. C, oh, no, there's a 4th one. And I, like, my numbering lettering system here is just completely atrocious, but whatever, who cares? You know, job offer or rejection. Somebody's now following me on Twitch. And lastly, lastly, as far as, like, the realm of kind of annoyance goes, like, freelance opportunities that I don't care about because they're all, like, horribly underpaid. And then the last one is, like, actually, I don't even, I need to check my emails again. Oh, right! That's what I was going to say. Developers giving me games, because I usually ask on a weekly basis for a number of games from various people. Because, well, it's a lot cheaper doing YouTube when the games are free. And I'm not saying this so it's like to brag or anything, but like Cavern Kings was $10. Let's see, Catacomb Kids. I'm getting these screwed up super hard, but you know, Catacomb Kids was $16, $17, give or take. Armello was 20. Let's see, Grav was like, wait, no, I think I got Grav for free actually. Maybe? Yeah, I did. But like every week or so, I get like another $20 worth of games. It's like every 2 weeks. And like at this point, you know, it's starting to become self-sufficient. But if a developer actually sends me a game, all right, works out for me. Unfortunately, most of the games that I seem to be pretty successful with are the ones that I had to buy with my own money, which has some interesting connotations, but also kind of sucks because I'm poor. But still, yeah, you add them all together and suddenly it's just like, oh, that was about $100. And if I'm going to be buying stuff like GTA 5 to actually make like good collaborative content, ooh, money. Well, either way, yeah, no, I'm kind of glad that the developers of Armello finally sent me some keys for the game. Still a little bit salty about them sending it to me like 2 weeks late, but whatever. more than made up for it. Actually, I think the video is like quarter of the way for paying for itself, which is kind of neat. Just on its own. I don't think it'll ever get there, but whatever. Yeah, silver chests. Unfortunately, it's one of these slidey lulls. I don't like them as much. Yeah. That makes up for it, though. Double katana. Oh, shit. Got dive bombed. It's kind of dark. But yeah, no, Cavern Kings is absolutely worth it. Like, again, 90% of the things that I actually buy for YouTube and stuff. And, like, I know people are making fun of me for being salty and stuff. And, yeah, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of Wonder Salt, given the situation. Ah, God, this is a mess. But, like, I don't know. I'm starting to dread whenever my phone lights up, because half the time it's an email, and half the time it's not the email I want. Oh, boy. I don't have enough healing. Oh, I do have a Dracula blood, whatever that is. And I did get a black hole box from that. Alright. Ah, shoot. There we go. Oh, and another one. Hey, I might actually attack fast enough that I can propel myself into the sky very slowly here. Oh, either way. Yeah. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing where the various early access games go. I know, like, a lot of people are starting to get, like, kind of grumpy with early access as a result of stuff like, oh, good example, Godus, Space-Based DF9. But I feel like for every bad Kickstarter and bad Steam early access, bad early access game, there are at least 5 good ones that come through. And a lot of people just kind of pass over them because it's so smooth and nobody talks about it. So, you know, one of my favorite games, period, Tower of Guns. Goddamn brilliant, and probably, quite possibly, the smoothest early access I've seen in a very long time. Developer regularly updated, all sorts of stuff like that. I actually spent a lot of time playing an unupdated version because I didn't even realize he had updated it, which was, I mean, maybe a little bit too smooth, or at least not smooth enough, I don't even know. But it was really pleasant. Ah, shit. Alright, well, kind of works for me in a way. God, why did I pick that up? Alright. I guess at the very least we lose this run and end the episode, which is fine by me. But, like, wait, did they fix it? Or, it's not that they fixed it, it's that this gun is not affected by the weird burst fire issue. Or they hotfixed it, I have no idea. Oh god, I'm so glad though. Because the whole burst fire glitch was annoying to the extreme. I'm not even sure why, like, burst fire exists. It works for me though. It seems to be cutting through enemies pretty hard, actually. Wow, this is nice. I wonder if it was burst fire. Alright, so I'm not seeing things. I don't even know. But so, you know, Tower of Guns, great early access. This one, I kind of wish they were a little bit prompter. But the reason why they're being so slow with the most recent set of patches is purely because the next patch they're aiming for is online multiplayer. If they can manage it. And they're hoping to. So that's why it's taking so long for them to... yeah, that's why it's taken them so long to update this one again. And honestly, I hope they update a lot more than just online multiplayer at this point, because, you know what? A couple more guns would be amazing. I'm not entirely sure what kind of guns they would put in, but you know what? They're smart people. And I could probably think about it. Honestly, modding support would be amazing too. But, you know, whatever. Beggars can't be choosers. Really, online multiplayer is the thing I'm waiting for, just so I can actually, like, stream this, play this with other people, because I think that would be pretty fun too. But yeah, Space-Based DF9 was cancelled. Or, not cancelled. There are a lot of early access games that a lot of people get salty about because they go gold, effectively, you know, that they go release well before they actually meet their goals. So, Space-Based DF9, they ran out of money, effectively. Shit, that's just a lot of gems. God, my greed is good. My greed is good and I need to leave. Okay. And eventually what Double Fine said as far as Space-Based DF9 was, you know, we expect the community to finish this game for us. And it's like, well, that's a load of crock. We paid good money for this. You know, we kickstarted it for, what, $500,000, $1 million? And just, nope. Actually, no, a lot of people were salty because a lot of the money from the adventure game, I think, ended up being, I don't even know. I don't exactly know the, like, finances on that one. But it was just like, it was nowhere near complete. And they're like, yep, it's done. Simply because we can't work on this anymore. And it's like, ooh. So a lot of people get like really burnt out on early access. I think the problem is with a lot of early access games, the ones that are feature incomplete are the ones that people get super salty about because there are a lot of features that can't be completed. So in this case, they're trying for multiplayer, but they're like super in the dark, leaving everybody super in the dark about it, as far as I know, which is kind of concerning. But I don't even. I don't exactly have like a good metric on like how this specific group is about early access. That said, this is a very complete game. Online multiplayer or no, the local multiplayer is complete ass, but that's purely because the control schemes do not particularly work well with controllers, unless you're really good at whipping the right stick around to aim in various directions and not go careening off into the sky. It's much easier with a keyboard and mouse. It'd probably be a little bit easier, actually, with a joystick and a mouse, but still, that's meaningless. I feel like my nose is clogging, but it's not. I can breathe through it. It's just every time I talk, it's like, alright, nose. I didn't even know. But so, like, this game, very nice early access. You know, they could have actually told me this game is complete, and I would have been a little bit grumpy about some of the design choices, but I would have been like, alright, you know, I believe you. And the fact that this is early access is really encouraging for me, because it means, well, this is actually going to be an even better game in a couple of months. Whereas you get games like Godus and Space-Based DF9, actually, that's a good point. And I mentioned Grav earlier. There are a lot of games that launch early access early, well before the game is even a game. It's just kind of like an empty world with a couple of features that kind of suck. So I did a couple of videos on Project Aura a while back, and I was like, alright, this seems kind of like an interesting city management game. Oh, but wait, you can't actually manufacture metal in the game, you have to buy it. Why? Because they haven't added it to the game yet. That just feels wrong from a design choice, because, like, you know, this is a core feature and should be there. Like, yeah, you know, online multiplayer, kind of core feature, but it's secondary to gameplay, because you can still play the game regardless. And so, like, that, I'm not sure where that game's gonna go, and I haven't even looked back on it, because it was just so feature sparse at the time I played it, that it's like, alright, there's no reason for me to continue with this, because there's just not enough. Grav's another example, though I think with Grav, they just vastly underestimated how popular their game was going to be, and ended up actually losing a lot of potential player base, purely because a lot of people were so stymied by the particularly bad server hosting issues. Like, seriously. I have never rubber banded in a game as bad as that one. That's a shame, because I really wanted to play that game. It had great visuals, at the very least. It was a little grindy, though, but whatever. It kind of felt... It was very similar to Terraria's level of grind, which is kind of neat. But, so, I think maybe part of it is, like, a lot of roguelikes early access well, because a lot of roguelikes have very basic gameplay. There's not too much, like, complexity. Whatever, who cares? There's not a lot of, like, true complexity to them. Like, Tower of Guns was a first-person shooter. This is a 2D platformer that, you know, cycles through various arenas. Same thing with Vagante, though Vagante is a little bit more complicated. Same thing with Catacomb Kids. Very simple in concept, so it's very easy to have the basic gameplay down. That's not, like, based on... that's not based on, like, specific features and whatnot. Do I have a PS4? Not yet. Really would like to. Probably gonna get it for Bloodborne. Much at the saltiness. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm gonna get it for Bloodborne immediately, though. Because I really would like to have, like, a consistent income of some kind before I make that kind of expenditure. As much as I would like to. Even though I have the money, it's just mostly like, well, it's a drop in the bucket, but the bucket is not refilling. Either way, though. But it's like, oh. I need to play more Dwarf Fortress. See, the thing is, though, there are also a lot of games that, like, just will never leave early access. So, for example, Maroslaw... Oh, wait, no, not Maroslaw. Key Reaper is mentioning Dwarf Fortress here. And Dwarf Fortress is a game... Wow, I can rocket these guys up into the stratosphere if I want to. That's great. Ooh. Spread shot. Goddamn spread shot. So... There are games that just will probably never leave early access. Like, let's be honest here, Minecraft, they gave it a 1.0 release. Oh, shoot. But that game will never be done. Or at least, it'll be done by the time when somebody abandons it and like the entire fan base is gone, or like somebody manages to replace it. But I highly doubt that's going to happen for a very long time. Terraria, for example, they're technically slapping a complete thing on it, and like chances are Terraria will be remade. Like that's how games like that will work. Holy shit, there's like not a whole lot left to this level. This is ridiculous, and I love it. But so, you know, Dwarf Fortress will never be complete until, say, the developer dies or retires, or like rages or loses something major, but probably dies. Like I think he's going to be working on that for the rest of his life. I'm just going to leave because it's too goddamn dark. And like you run into a lot of games also like World of Warcraft and whatnot that will also be just continually updated until everybody loses interest, purely because the development team is just so, I mean, I guess I'm going to say in love with their product that they want to keep it going. But so there are a lot of like really good games that are just going to be permanently early access for pretty much the rest of their lifetime, or everybody's lifetime, which is I'm totally okay with. Speaking of, I've been meaning to get into Dwarf Fortress lately. I used to play it in college, and unfortunately, I can't deal with ASCII type interfaces. It bothers me. I really need to like get a UI on that thing. But let's see. I don't know. It's interesting. Early access is weird. A lot of people are like super meh about early access, about Kickstarter and stuff. And like, yeah, there's been a lot of really bad Kickstarter products, and I totally agree with a lot of people that there needs to be some amount of accountability. Though I think the internet is maybe a little bit too addicted to the idea of like, you know, you didn't give us what we demanded, therefore, you know, burn in hell. It gets a little bit ridiculous after a certain point. So, I mentioned Godus fairly frequently, and I don't think I touched on this the last time I was talking about it. But so there's a fairly famous interview with Peter Molyneux at this point, or at least I consider, you know, all of my YouTuber buddies have referenced it in some kind of conversation, because a lot of us have read it at some point to some degree. And so if you don't know who Peter Molyneux is, he's the like sort of lead creative director / like designer of Godus, and he's like this. He's a guy with like huge dreams as far as the game industry goes. Let's see. Okay, oh, there is actually a tile set for Dwarf Fortress now. I will check that out. In that case, I might give it a go on stream within a couple of days, assuming I can get it all set up. Unfortunately, I'm kind of busy. Dragas is doing a 24-hour stream tomorrow, and I'm probably going to guest star on it for at least a little while, so that might actually take place of tomorrow's stream to at least some degree. Yeah, unfortunately, Dwarf Fortress was the game that I only really heard about in college, because I had one friend that was, like, super into it, and then it's just kind of like, alright. After that, nobody really ever talks about it, outside of, like, specific circles. But I've always meant to, like, actually get into that one, because I have some good, fond memories of Carp seriously fucking my day up. I'm not entirely sure why I dropped down there, but I guess we're already on the level 20 mark, so it's not super important for me to really stick around in these levels. Also, we're goddamn badass.